It's 9 o'clock. It's Saturday morning. It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Good morning, people. I hope you have had a lovely week since last time. I have had an absolute stinker. You know, you have those days where you just want to sit on your hands because everything you touch turns to a crock of poo. Well, I've had a week like that, but I was going to do a bit of a rant, like that other magician on Mad John on what's his name of his channel? What's the guy's name? Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. But I'm not going to, because hey, this show isn't about me at all. It isn't really about Monster Magic, to be honest. It's about you guys, and it's about magic and what I consider to be the best hobby in the world. But while we are talking about Greg Petty, I would just like to say he did a really good video about destructive criticism in magic. And the idea is if you go out and you perform for people and they enjoy that performance, you have done a really, really good job. And it's very easy for a magician looking on to spot not the best technique perhaps, and to leap on that and to suggest that they're doing it all wrong and really put them down. Whereas actually what they've done is gone out and entertained people. They've enjoyed themselves, their participants have enjoyed themselves, and that really is all that magic's about. Yes, some better lifts perhaps could be more deceptive than others. Some are more surefire. All of that stuff, completely true. There are techniques that are possibly, you would argue, better than others in certain circumstances, and you should learn them all and you should really master every technique. But if your technique's good enough to entertain people, go out there and do it and enjoy yourself and let them enjoy themselves. That's all that magic is about. And I'll tell you a little story that I started magic when I was 8 years old, more or less. I might have been 7, might have been 9. I can't remember exactly. No pin in the calendar, unfortunately. But I have never shown my dad a magic trick. Never. And that fear of showing my dad a magic trick passed on to the rest of my family and my friends. And even to this day, I struggle and will avoid performing magic for anyone I know. So there you go. Be kind to people. Let them enjoy their hobby. Let them make mistakes. Just encourage them to get better. So what's the first trick though? The first trick is Nesting Envelopes by Matthew Wright. Marvellous Nesting Envelopes by Matthew Wright. I very much appreciate the fact that the name of the prop / trick is related to what it does. This reminds me very much of Gary Kurtz's Signed, Sealed and Delivered. It's a brilliant routine in his unexpected, what's it called? Unexpected, anyway, in his book. And it's a brilliant card trick. I saw Gary perform it. I was very lucky to see him perform it at London International Magic's London convention, and it blew me away. I was quite a young magician back then. I like to think that I was young once, and I've always really sort of thought about it. And Gary's required quite a bit of sleight of hand. I believe he got, if I remember correctly, he got the card into the last envelope with a sort of Tenkai palm flicky maneuver that I was never brave enough to pull off. There was quite a lot in that in Gary's lecture that I was never quite brave enough to pull off. But this makes things so much easier. You get the same bang for your buck from that routine as Gary's. The routine is very simple in plot. It's the classic card to impossible location, very similar to a card to wallet, but with envelopes. The envelope can be in the spectators, the participants' hands right from the start. You can show both sides of it. The red envelope is completely clean and examinable, and they can hold it for as long as they like. And inside that is another envelope, and inside that is the final envelope from which you can pull out their card. It can be a signed card, it can be a thought of card, it can be a selected card. And Matthew runs through all of the various nuances, different methods and everything else. A lot of it is covered in his previous tutorials for his card to wallet and stuff like that. And it's very similar to a card to wallet really in plot. What is really nice is just how simple this is. There is almost no slights. There's some knacks to it, but it's pretty much slightless, really. It's a very, very easy, very, very powerful card routine. And it's great that these envelopes can be in the participants' hands all of the time. And Matthew has some lovely touches. He teaches it very clearly in his tutorial, but he's got some lovely touches. And one of the things I like is he also does it with his card in wallet, is he likes for when the card to be pulled out, to have something like your business card or a bit of money or something paper clipped to that card. Because as he says, that adds this nice extra layer of impossibility. So not only was their card signed, selected, and appeared inside the envelope, you've somehow had time to paperclip some money to it, and or even if it's their thought of card or anything else, it's all makes it harder for them to think that you've somehow exchanged it or done something previously or on the fly. Very, very nice bit of thinking by Matthew. It's all very, very clearly thought out. It's very well taught. It is an absolute bargain at $16.99. If you don't want to be carrying around a wallet, then this is the ideal alternative. The envelopes themselves, let me show you, are pretty tough. So this one's sort of card. It's one of those envelopes that you seal with a band that you wipe around, so you're not constantly ripping it open or peeling off some adhesive. So there's nothing really to replace at all, which is, you know, really good. And that seal is pretty common. You see it a lot in offices as well, because you have internal posts still, I'm afraid, things like that. This is a standard envelope. There's no stick or there's no gum. You do have an option of putting some sort of seal on here if you want, because it can be sealed. Matty doesn't think it's necessary. I don't really think it's necessary at all. And then inside here you have the final envelope. Now this one is gimmicked, and it's made from Tyvek, I think, and it's good, it's strong, it'll work an absolute treat. I'm guessing Matty might produce some refills for it at some point. This will last you a long time, and even if it gets a little battered or a little dirty, so what, you've had it in your pocket, you've been carrying it around and you're doing a magic trick with it. And for $16.99, I would suggest just buy another one, because you're going to be doing this trick. I think if you do any sort of card magic, particularly if you're a hobbyist or whatever, you can literally just have this, put it on your mantelpiece, and when someone comes around, do one of the routines that Matthew teaches and pull it out of here. He's got a very nice mentally selected one, and he talks about how to really get a chance of having a better mind reading trick first of all, and the idea that if it misses, no one knows it was ever going to be a hit, but if you hit, just end the trick there, because you've just dropped a magic bombshell. I really do like Matthew's thinking. I think this is a really good product at a really good price, and it is really, it's as powerful as a card to wallet. It's just as much fun. You got the gag of another envelope being inside the envelope. Everything else, it's great. It is Marvelous Nesting Envelopes by Matthew Wright. Now we've got Fuse It by Victor Sanz. Yes, with this, I really didn't know what this was going to be. I couldn't tell. Sometimes, you watch the trailers and you try and figure out what the method could be, everything else. This fooled me. I didn't understand how this was going to work at all. And in the course of a 90-minute tutorial, Victor Sanz explains it all really, really clearly and gives you lots of other bonus ideas other than the main effect. The main effect is that you have these small post-it notes. You write your name on one and the spectator participant pulls it off and it can be inspected. It's a genuine standard post-it note. You then stick that onto the top of the post-it note pad and they write their name on the post-it note below it. You rip that off and the two post-it notes seal, bond together and become one post-it note. It's very much, it has got an anniversary waltz sort of style feel to it, these two things coming together. Perhaps you can present it that way if you like. I think it is a really, really clever gimmick. Let me show you what you get. You get these pieces of paper that, I can't remember what he calls them. I think he calls them like the Fuse-It papers. You get the Post-it notes, which are, and the gimmick as well. So that's all sort of included in here. And you also get some spare material should your gimmick break. And of course, the instruction cards. Really, really love the Post-it style themed packaging. And like I say, the trick really is it's an anniversary waltz style effect, but without using cards. You've just got to carry this around rather than a deck of cards, and a Sharpie. So it's got a lot of advantages over the anniversary waltz. It's just not a card trick. And let's face it, there are a bundle of card tricks out there. Unfortunately, anniversary waltz is probably one of the best ones. So you might want to stick with that. The gimmick is super, super clever. It's, I won't tell you what it's based on, but it's based on, or the idea developed from another trick that he saw. And this is more versatile than you would imagine. So he teaches the two Post-it notes bonding together. It's a lovely routine, and it is a powerful routine for sure. I think his choreography of the way he does it, I'm not a great fan of that. I would be holding the two Post-it notes far apart to start off with, really demonstrate that they are separate, then stick it on, then write your name on, then put it off and everything else. So that can be improved on, but the more you perform it, I'm sure the more you'll find a way of making it play bigger and better. But you can also do lots of other things with it. So he teaches an add up a number style mentalist routine, which is great, which would work. I mean, it's basically what you're saying is that this is kind of a switching device as well as that bonding routine, or the Fuse-It routine, and that does open up a lot of possibilities. The one thing with the add a number is that these Post-it notes are pretty small, and with add a number, the method really sort of involves the fourth person not knowing what the other people have written or what their handwriting's like, and them not seeing that it's been switched. And really that sort of needs a space or an area, and it's possibly a bit odd to be using something quite so small with the space that is required for that routine. There's also a trick on here called Post-it Geller, which is you draw a fork, they draw a handle, a little bit as if you were doing consequences, and then you bend the fork. You pull the piece of paper off and the fork's been bent. Not really sure about that as a routine, but it's a nice idea, and I think you could have a lot of fun with consequences sort of ideas as well. So there's a lot of possibilities to open your mind to. He also teaches a neat little production where you can actually, so in a way, the way this works, you're sort of vanishing the front Post-it note. So you can do it for the classic sort of prediction of, you can draw a dollar bill on here, drop it out, or a coin, and that would vanish and it would fall out from the piece of paper onto your hand, if that makes sense. He suggests it's possibly more better for social media. I reckon you'll get away with it in the real world too. Victor Sanz also runs through how to repair your gimmick. I think the gimmick is surprisingly strong and tough. It is also pretty easy to repair. I don't think I'll give away too much to say that you've got to thread a needle to be able to do it, and to tie a knot, but very quick, very easy, not a nasty, complicated thing to be scared of. I really want to love it. I'm sort of on the fence. It's definitely clever, and it's definitely versatile. There's definitely things you can do with it. I'm just not sure if I would do any of them just yet. That is Fuse-It by Victor Sanz. And now it's the turn of Paul Brook and Sharp Prediction. I say Paul Brook, it's also Patrick Jason and Sven Borsch. Patrick Jason and Sven Borsch are the two on the tutorial. They are, I'm guessing, Green Lemon, which I believe is a new company, and they have produced Paul Brook's Sharp Prediction. It's originally in a book, and Patrick or Sven, or both of them, read the book, met Paul, and Sharp Prediction as a trick and a release on its own was born. The tutorial and everything else doesn't give away the tutorial. The review and the blumph doesn't really give away too much about what it is. And essentially, it is multiple predictions on Sharpie pens that can be used for mentalist effects. I would say you can use them for card effects, obviously, if it's a prediction style / mentalist style card effect. What you receive are basically 5 Sharpies. These are blank. There's nothing on them at all. I don't think, I mean, if you had a Sharpie, a standard Sharpie, you could still use it. I think they're just a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer not to have it on. But you can also, if there are lots of tutorials out there of how to replace Sharpie ink should you need to, but you'll be fine. I'm sure, you know, you can just pop the cartridge out and put a new one in, and you got 5 of them. So chances of any of them really running out or drying out. I've tried. Have you ever tried drying out Sharpie for some of those effects? It takes forever. And you also get the predictions, and predictions are all sort of on here, like so. Oop. The Sharp prediction routine was born from a drawing duplication, the classic drawing duplication routine, essentially of someone drawing a picture of anything that they like, you then drawing a similar picture of that, thus duplicating it, and so on. And at the end, you ask them, do you know why you thought of a flower? And obviously they don't. And then you point to the pen that they used and that they've been holding all along to draw it. And on the barcode, it says you'll think of a flower and stuff like that. That is just one of the routines. In the good old days, Patrick and Sven would have said, and you're only limited by your imagination. These days, I think the whole imagination thing is put down into what is now a 2-hour tutorial, lots of different tutorials. And the nice thing about it is that you get all of these stickers in here, all relate to these different routines. And you just pick whichever routine you're going to do and prepare the Sharpies in that way. For the drawing duplication, they do teach Paul Brooks of BizPeak, which is one method of doing the duplication. You can also use any Peak wallet or any other Peak device that you like, or any other method that you know of, and you just use the Sharp prediction as a kicker. Now, here's the smart bit with Sharp prediction, is that obviously you're asking someone who can draw literally anything they like. And although thanks to BizPeak and all the other methods, you can nail the drawing duplication, how do you nail the prediction on the Sharpie? That is done by the use of language, essentially. So by only having 5 different objects on the Sharpie, so you've got 5 Sharpies, so you've got 5 different outs. Within those 5 outs, they pretty much cover almost everything anyone can think of. Yeah, to a certain and lesser degree of accuracy, but they're definitely hits. There might be times when you first start doing this that you don't hit with the drawing duplication Sharp prediction routine, in which case don't worry, because you don't have to do it. You've still done the drawing duplication, which is brilliant and a very strong effect in itself. Just don't do the Sharp prediction, and just go back and review what you said and whether you can change your language to help you get a hit. And eventually, as Sven and Patrick point out, you'll be getting more and more hits until you're just hitting all of the time. But you will hit most of the time anyway. There's a lot covered. It's quite clever use of language and really smart, which big kudos to Paul Brook and all of his experience. That's one of those things of when you do perform a lot, you do get to go, well, this comes up a lot, this is how people think, and so on. So I think drawing duplications are really powerful. I think having an extra kicker is a really nice idea. And as Sven and Patrick talk about it, a lot of people don't believe in mind reading, but they might well believe in the power of influence. So it's great. That's great. You also have ESP routines, and they talk about how to do that. They also talk a few card sleights as well, so that you can either force a card and have that as the revelation. There's a number prediction. There's a red hammer, which is based on not on psychological force, but common behaviours with people. If you ask them to name a tool, chances are you're going to end up with red hammer. And they teach you how to do that routine and how to get red hammer coming up more often than not. You know, it's very unlikely anyone's going to say turquoise spirit level, to be honest, but they teach you all of these nuances and so on. So I think that is one of the great things about this, is that they've worked it and they are passing on their knowledge and their experience, so that if you are an inexperienced mentalist, you shouldn't be scared. And there are just a myriad of little tips and thoughts and use of language that mean that you just get it right every time, and increases the power for your participants as well. So that is really, really nice. Obviously, you can use them for card routines. There are card reveals on here. There are object reveals on here. There are celebrity name reveals as well. So there are only 20 stickers in total. The stickers will last pretty well. You know, you're not going to be rubbing them off. Don't get them wet. Don't try and rub them off. But they're pretty good, strong, waterproof style stickers. It's a really good idea. Really well executed. Loving the packaging. And again, it's one of those tutorials that really help you. They're not trying to sell a pipe dream. And certainly with a couple of routines, they'll go, you know, oh, you've missed, or you've got a weaker revelation. But even with the red hammer, if you get hammer, you've got a hit. It's really clever. I do like it. It is Sharp Prediction by Paul Brook and Green Lemon, and it is $41.99. And now it's Mini Roulette by TCC and Treey. An idea by Treey, not sure how you say that. And this is a portable, carrying around small version of the classic bag smash routine. You put four blocks of wood on the table with covered by bags with a spike inside. And you smash your hand down on three of them, and you show that the last one has the spike on, thus risking your hand and your palm and everything else, but surviving. If you like those sort of style routines, there are a myriad out there. Some of them costing hundreds of pounds, some of them you just make yourself. This is somewhere in between at £80, and it's got a slightly different method to all of the others. Most of the ones all have the reveal underneath. So if you think of Shattered by Patrick Cuffs from his 6x6 book, came out many years ago, you can pull no matter which bag is left, it has got a sharp broken bottle underneath. This works in a different way this method is sort of the reverse of that. And there's no real gimmicks in here. It is sort of based on, I want to say sleight of hand, but it's more like moves, really, to carry out the effect. So you're not getting anything cleverly made, retractable, disappearing, vanishing, or anything like that. You are literally getting what you see is genuinely what you're getting. And it is a nice box. It is a really nice box. And inside the box, you have the spikes, and you have these little blocks. Let me just and you have these little blocks as well. So that's how big they are. That's how big spikes are. And that is what you're getting. And these are spikes, and these are real wooden blocks. You also get the bags to put the blocks in as well, which is really nice. You get 50 of these. You can reuse them, of course. There's no reason why you can't get many performances out of each one. And it's a really, really nice, beautifully made. It's TCC. You get free sponge ball. Didn't mention that. Beautifully made prop, but that's what you're paying for. There's nothing clever here. You've got a series of moves. You can call it sleight of hand if you want to perform the trick. So there's no real clever engineering or ingenious method here. I'm not saying the method's not clever and doesn't work or anything like that, but it's not based on anything physically that you get. All of the roulette routines like this are real attention grabbers. You sell the amount of peril that you're in, and they do talk about how to perform the routine. There isn't actually a performance on the tutorial, but they talk about the different methods, different presentations you can use, you know, depending on which are slightly different in effect, essentially, as to whether or not you're divining which one's got the spike under or whether or not your participant is. It's a beautiful box. The routines, as you know, yeah, people get hooked on the fact that you might hurt yourself. So it is an entertaining routine. If that's your style, go for it. Really what you're paying for is this beautiful box, the beautiful props, and the idea that it's nice and small. You can carry it around. You can do a walk around if that's what you want to do. I do really, really like it. I'm just struggling with the price. I wish it was $59.99 and not $79.99. There you go. It is completely safe, by the way, as well. You're not going to hurt yourself doing this. And I must say, anyone who is doing the method that has any particular risk, A, just don't. But B, if you're doing it with the cups, put a little bit of wood in the bottom of each polystyrene cup. So when you smash it down, if you get it wrong, it's just going to go into the wood. It doesn't matter. No one knows about that polystyrene in the bottom of the cup. But anyway, but there you go. It's a great routine, as they all are. This one's just nice and small. It's Mini Roulette by TCC. And finally, a blast from the past. Yes, it's Cue the Magic by Angelo Carbone. I think given the massive success of Demi Deck, it's only fair to mention that that's probably becoming Angelo's most loved and favourite trick, certainly at the moment. But Cue the Magic is brilliant. This is just amazing thinking, and it's a method that has been sort of copied and modified a lot ever since, and it's great that it was Angelo's to start off with. This is probably one of the best stage card effects you can do. You do have to choose the best participant possible. You don't want someone too quiet, you don't want someone too baldery either. Just want someone who'll play along, who's got a nice smile, and you can have so much fun with it. The trick essentially is that you pick out someone to help you with a card trick, and they're going to do the trick themselves, and they're going to do it by reading these cue cards. And you pull off the cue cards and they repeat after you. Hi, I'm the great magician, Alex Kirk, blah, blah, blah. They make up their own stage name. There are lots and lots of jokes inside here. And you can modify the script as much as you like. You don't have to show all of the cards. You can take some of the cards out and everything else. They invite someone else to come up on stage with them. That person just names any playing card that they like. And you show that you've had it in, and you show that it's been in an envelope the entire time, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful piece of magic for the stage. It is funny and it is remarkably powerful. This trick is possibly the one trick I've done where I've had people swearing at the denouement. It is that powerful. So you've got 5 or 6 minutes of laughter, and then you've got such a strong revelation that people wouldn't believe. Well, that's the final envelope card. That's the final envelope card there. So that's what the envelope comes out. The card comes out of. But let me just show you what the cards look like. There you go. So these are the sorts of cards that you're just sort of turning over as you're going through. And you can see this. You get different options on the back, whatever. So it's entirely up to you which cards get read, which cards don't get read, and you can play along. And it depends also a lot bit on what your participant is like, what they're saying, whether you can get more out of them, how your audience's reaction is going as well. The instructions are written instructions, but it's perfectly clear, and you will be doing this. It is easy. That's the other remarkable thing. It is really, really easy. There's not really any sleights involved. You do want to practice the techniques and the moves. You want to be as smooth as possible for sure. That, I mean, that goes for saying with almost anything. But also the heat is just not on you. You are making someone else the star the entire time. Yes, you're being a little bit of a puppet master, but they are the center of attention, and for that reason alone, it stands out as being one of the best tricks, because that is what you really want to do, is to make anyone that comes up on stage to be the star. They're fine, you know, they will get damaged if you are careless with them, and so that is why you really want to keep them in this nice case, in this nice folder, all together, because it's safety in numbers with these cards. For me, this remains probably the best pack small, plays big, makes you look great, makes your participant look great stage effect ever. I absolutely adore Cue the Magic by Angelo Carbone. It isn't cheap. I will put the price up down here. It isn't cheap, but it is one blinding routine. It is Cue the Magic by Angelo Carbone. Oh, and that's the end of the show, I'm afraid. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it and you haven't already subscribed, please do. I've got 700 subscribers. I thought I was going to have to wait till Christmas, so I'm super chuffed with that. And last week's video, masses of thumbs up, and that really got me through my week. So thank you all very much for that. But until next week, go out there, be kind to each other, and have a lot of fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye bye.